Hello and welcome. Welcome to the studio. My name is Catherine. I'm a fine artist and teacher, but today I'm not teaching. It's the weekend, and so that means that I get to be in the studio and paint and work on my own creative practice. And I figured today, since it's such a lovely day outside, it's like 70 degrees, it's sunny, it's wonderful, I thought, well, this kind of weather always really makes me want to destroy some old paintings of mine. I'm going to spend some time painting over old paintings that have been sitting around in my studio, in my closet, collecting dust, some of them for years. It's really fun, and again, something about this weather just always makes me want to do this. It's like spring cleaning maybe, or just clearing the slate, making room for new ideas to take root and sprout. It's just always feels really refreshing when the seasons start to change and it feels like new life is beginning. So that's what I'm going to do today. If it sounds interesting to you, if you want to hear more about why I do this, why it's important to me, then settle in and let's get started. All right, so here's the pile of paintings. These are the ones that are, headed to the slaughter today, so to speak. I'll take you on just like a little tour of them. Sometimes when I share videos of myself painting over old works like these on Instagram, I sometimes get comments from people, not a lot, but like a few occasionally, um, saying that, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing? This is so terrible. How could you destroy your own work like that? You could have sold that." Um, and you know what? No, I could not have. I could not have sold any of these. Most of these paintings, if not all of them, have been offered for sale. No one buys them. No one buys them. And you know what? I don't blame people for not buying these. I don't think that these are good paintings. I think it says something that no one felt moved to purchase one. Not to say that being able to sell is the most important feedback, but I think it is feedback. If your work isn't connecting with an audience, there's a reason for that, quite frankly. It doesn't mean that you're not a good artist if you're not selling work. But if you are not connected to your work, if you are not making work that is deeply meaningful to you, if you're not making work that is aligned with your soul, then people are not going to want to buy it. And you're not going to blame them. You will understand why no one wants to buy it, quite frankly. At least I do with these pieces. I don't even necessarily think that these are bad paintings, to be clear, or I don't mean they're not necessarily bad in the sense that they're not skillful. I think there is skill in these paintings, but a lot of these are paintings where I'm trying to be somebody else, where I'm trying to like, look at this. What the heck is this? I don't know what painter this is. This is not Catherine Bobkoski. Look at how, like, careless and brushy this is. This is me trying to be like an Alla Prima painter, like me trying to be like, someone like Richard Schmidt or whatever. And even this one, which is a lot closer to what, I'm doing now, it's still not really me. It's still not really actually aligned with the things that I want to do in a painting. That's just how it is. So it's not that things are good or bad. It's that if you're not connected with the work, no matter how skillful it is, how you know technically good it is or not, it's not going to connect with you, and it's therefore not going to connect with anybody else. People can tell. I think people can absolutely tell if you are not just a master of your craft, but if you're like a master of your soul, basically. Are you doing something that is coming from your soul, or are you only doing something that is coming from your ego? People can tell. They don't know that they can tell, but they can absolutely tell. Looking at some of these paintings, I I actually I do feel a lot of affection for these paintings. I'm not painting over them because I hate them. I don't really think that they're good paintings in that they are not paintings that I think are aligned with who I am and who I want to be as an artist. In that sense, they're not good paintings. But I can look back and remember who I was when I painted these. And some of these paintings I really clearly remember trying to do specific things. I can look back and kind of remember all these different eras that I went through of just trying to be a better painter, trying to find a voice, trying to figure out, what it was that I was trying to do. And it's hard to look at that and not feel kind of like tender about it. Like, oh, gosh, that poor girl, she was working so hard. um, and it is like really, really hard work. It is really hard work. I mean, I have been painting over old paintings for years at this point, and let me tell you, I have like barely scratched the surface. I have so many more, these little fragments of my past and of trying to find something, and more often than not finding it. Making art it's really hard. It's really hard. And I know people say, "Oh, there's no mistakes in art. There's no wrong path. There's no everything is allowed." And to some extent I agree with that. I certainly agree with the sentiment, but the fact is if you're doing something that is not connected to you, I think you can count that as a mistake. And if you don't accept that as a mistake, then it's hard to move forward and make progress. And if you're not moving forward and making progress, you're never really going to find that thing. You're never really going to feel aligned. You might just enjoy the sort of sensory experience of painting, and that's wonderful. I mean, you should absolutely enjoy painting. We should all enjoy painting. But there's painting, maybe, again, is just a fun experience, something that is maybe on a surface sensory level enjoyable. And then there's painting that I think comes from a deeper place. And if you need to get to a deeper place, you gotta dig. You have to dig. And it's not always that easy, and it takes a lot of time, and it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of honesty. And when I was making a lot of these paintings, I'm looking at now and thinking like, whoa, yeesh, what was that girl doing? Oh, yikes. Well, I also know at the time that I maybe had a little inkling in my mind, like a little still small voice saying, this isn't really what you want to do. This isn't really what you're called to do. But I was not honest enough with myself to actually hear that voice and to admit it. So that takes a lot of work. It's really hard. Painting, oh my gosh, like at least 80 or maybe even 90% of making art and being creative is a mind game. It's a mind game, and it is a long game, and it is emotional work. And the technical stuff on top of that, like just understanding like color mixing and drawing fundamentals and stuff like that. I mean, to a big extent, I think that that's kind of the surfacey fun stuff that we all get to just enjoy and have fun with, because it is fun to learn. Um, it is absolutely fun to learn, but it could almost be distracting that you can focus so much on learning fundamentals and focus so much on learning just the craft of drawing, that you forget about the whole reason for doing that is to discover an inner other that is trying to speak to you. If you're working too hard on the craft, you can forget that you're trying to give voice to something. Yeah, maybe it sounds really corny. And by the way, I am not at all trying to say that learning fundamentals is somehow easy or not worth your time. I don't think that at all. I spent a lot of time learning fundamentals, and by the way, that's what I teach. So I 100% believe that that is a important tool in order to be able to express yourself better, 100%. But it can be a double-edged sword in a way. in that having technical skills can sort of barricade you off from that deeper thing, that intuitive sense that also wants to be known. I guess in sum, that's why I'm painting over these old things. There are things that I don't connect with, and that clearly no one else connects with either. Or they are things that were unfinished, paintings that just were never completed. And I'm a big believer in the idea that if you're not going to finish a painting, you should just let it go. Just paint over it, start something new. If you're really not going to finish it, it wasn't meant to be. Don't drag yourself down with it. That's what we're doing here. So we're letting go of the past. We're letting go of those previous selves that were trying to be somebody else, trying to masquerade as a different artist other than the one that I really am. And therefore, I think hopefully bringing in some new space, some clear, fresh air for new ideas to arise. Here are the paintings the next day. It's another beautiful day, and I'm so excited to do more painting. So thank you guys for being here. And if you want to learn more, particularly about some of the painting tools that I'm using, you can find more information in a recording of a one-day workshop that I taught recently. And if you're watching this in real time, it is on sale right now. So check the link below and get that course. And I also have a free brush guide that you can download. I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you back in the studio very soon, I hope, and thank you so much again for watching. Happy painting. Bye-bye.